Hail now and well met, adventurers. Gather round, and let me tell you of the days of daring journeys and dark peril. Approach the table as we explore the adventurer's path.
Hey adventurers, Shep here. Looking forward to the session today. I think it's going to be something a little bit different, but before we dive into it, just a couple of updates for you. The first, on Friday, my very first top 5 is coming out. Looking forward to that. It's going to be top 5 dungeon crawlers. So be looking forward to that on a Friday drop. Second thing, I've been thinking about it, been mulling it over. It's fully enjoying the Shadowdark playthrough, but I've been thinking and talking with a lot of folks, and I'm going to be kicking off a solo play of Pendragon. So still going to keep the Monday drop as a Shadowdark solo play. The Wednesday drop, I'm going to start working towards a solo Pendragon game. So that way, some variety in the content. Hopefully, everybody enjoys that. Not sure when that's going to be coming, but I'm going to start working on that real soon. So be looking forward to that. All right, that's all the updates for this week. Let's get to the recap. Okay, everyone. Last time, our group, our 2 now, Korus and Ratha, made it back to the city of Halako and delivered the ears to the widow for the price, and spent some time then doing some pretty extended downtime. Korus was very obsessed and was able to do the spell mastery he was looking for his healing spell. Felt so much guilt after what they had been through and losing Naso. And during that time, one of the agents of the widow approaches them and offers them an opportunity to investigate what she believes. She's been given some reports and rumors that the leader of Bleakmere, a man known as the Gallow King, it's the neighboring hex over, that he is actually under the influence of a cult of some kind. So to help out, there are a couple of other people that she's commissioned to infiltrate. Now, as soon as we heard that there was a cult, Korus was 100% on board. He's ready to sniff this out. Ratha is a faithful friend going along with him. And so because of that, they were given these 2 additional allies, 2 NPCs, and we rolled them up in our last session. Had some hard time rolling the stats, hard to get a fair set in there, but we ended up with a individual named Fyodor Makinchenko, and he is one of the classes that is from the Sundered Lands. He is a hound, and we rolled him up, and just for fun, here's a picture of Fyodor. Give you a good look at this guy that's joining us. He has a minstrel background. He's level 2, and his primary thing is dexterity. He uses a longbow, and he's got a couple of daggers on him. And then we were also given a second comrade to join us, a woman named Brigida Hamad. And there she is right over there. She is from Havar, so all the way on the other side of the continent. Fyodor is from Storengal to the north. And Brigida is an alchemist, another new class. I'm primarily going to be using new classes from the Sundered Lands just to play through them, let you see those. She has a sailor background, but she's an alchemist, and she's got 3 spells that she currently knows. She knows Burning Hands, felt very alchemy, Mage Armor, and Protection from Evil, and she can make potions from Mage Armor and Protection from Evil. We ended up getting, as we were preparing her background, 2 critical successes on potion making, and so she's got a Mage Armor that actually gives AC 18 and a Protection from Evil potion that lasts for 10 whole rounds. So those 2 are going to be joining us. Now, here's the thing. Since I've got these 2 other NPCs, I was thinking about it and and really wanted to try and come up with some ways to help me play these characters, balancing a full party of 4. I want them to have their own motivations and things. And one of the things I thought of was my favorite game, Pendragon. And so because of that, what I wanted to do is borrow perhaps the traits from Pendragon to see how they may respond to various situations. So I kind of rolled against the Pendragon tables, if you're familiar with that, and anything that seemed exceptional in the role that jumped out, I wrote that out as a defining trait. So for Brigida, she is energetic, she is arbitrary, modest, prudent, suspicious though, and valorous. So those are some guiding traits that as we try and make decisions for her character, those will be some waste points that we'll use to decide how she might respond. For Fyodor, he is vengeful, but generous, which I was surprised. I thought maybe he's going to be a little more selfish being a hound, but no. He's honest, which is also interesting for his profession, making him a very different kind of guy. Temperate, so he's not overindulgent in anything, which kind of pairs with his generosity, so he's not a lot self-focused. And strangely, he is very trusting. Now, that may just be to his close comrades. It doesn't mean he's gullible necessarily, but he's trusting of people. And so those are some characteristics that are going to guide us for playing these characters. So I think that's it for our recap. Our crew was provisioned up. I did that offline. Oh, some things I wanted to also share with you as we prepare. Got the old handy dandy sketch pad here. And because we're going to be going into investigating a cult and things like that, potentially uncovering it, I wanted to do some pre-work. So I kind of flipped the old hat around, moved to the GM hat instead of just random solo play. Can't help it. Lifelong GM. And so I wanted to do a little bit of pre-work, especially if we were going to do some investigation stuff. So I did a handful of things in advance. One, I created a table of rumors. So our group will be able to investigate some things. And as they do, there are rumors that they may be able to encounter as they go. They'll have to make checks to see if they can even access the rumor. But once they do, these are the options they'll have. There are also some possible occurrences, things that they may run into that may help them in the investigation. Then I was trying to think about it. How do we navigate through an entire town, ask questions, if there really is a cult moving? And so what I did is I said there's got to be a random encounter. Every time they make a investigation attempt after the first one, there's a chance of a random encounter occurring, and create a special random encounter table for that. Suspicious people, helpful people, all kinds of things that may come up because they're asking around. And then because of that, I went ahead and laid out a dungeon. For me, sometimes for these dungeons, I like to spend a little time, and I always like to think, what would exist here? And I like to lay it out and be a little thematic and spend some time doing that. So on occasion, I may create a dungeon with you guys live, or at least together, if you will. But sometimes I just like to spend that time doing that in my own process. If you want to watch dungeons being made, I highly encourage you to watch a couple of other folks that I just love their channels. That's How I Roll and Solo Delving, the Shadowdark. Both of them do a great job with showing adventure creation, dungeon creation, those kinds of things. They spend a lot of time doing that. And so if you're curious, you can take a look over at their channels and see them do that. I'll put a link down in the show notes so you can find their channels if you don't happen to know those at all. But anyway, so I made the dungeon, created the encounters, and even the random encounter table here. I did this last week, so I've forgotten a lot of what is in here already. And I'm just excited to encounter it. I don't know what it's going to be like. It may be too easy, maybe too hard. We'll find out together. So I'm really excited for this, but just want to let you know, I did some of this pre-work right here. And this is what our group is going to be able to navigate through in our upcoming day. We'll see how it goes. So, all right, that's it for the recap. With that, let's get to the table. All right, adventurers, here we are. starting in the town of Halako, square 1625 on our Hexcrawl table over here. We're going to be going over right across the border. If you notice, we're going to be going right through one of the ley lines. And so we're going to have to check for weather. That's going to be important for us. That's one of the things that's kept these two cities apart, is the fact this ley line's here. So the mists rise pretty regularly through here. We're in fall, getting a little later into the fall, heading in towards winter. And we're going to head into the town of Bleakmere. And as we head into that way, what I would like to do to check through this, not only do I want to check the weather, but normally you wouldn't have kind of a hex crawl from town to town in those squares. But I do want to do for a random encounter check, since this is pretty dangerous territory between the two of those. So we're going to do that as soon as we check the weather. So coming over the front of the setting book here for the region, there's our weather table. And so if the mists are really up, we may not even travel. It may be just too dangerous for us. We may have to wait for an opportune time to travel between. So let's just check and see. So 5 is overcast. So with that overcast, the mists are going to kind of rise in this spotty way. It's dangerous, but it's not heavy overcast. There's a light mist. So I think that's going to give us just a couple of opportunities as we travel from one to the other. What I'm going to decide is we'll take 2 random encounter checks to see if something occurs. And what we'll do is we'll just use the mist rise on the Bleakmere side. The ley line's technically over on this side. So there are chances that we could have a random encounter. So we'll make 2 checks to see if anything, do the mists come up? Does something come at us? And we'll see if that occurs. If not, we'll make it safely over to Bleakmere. So here's to hoping. Let's see. As our group heads out, first day, 4. So no checks through there. All right, risky terrain. Here we go. How does the weather hold? 5. So while it's lightly overcast, the mists do not rise, and we're able to travel and navigate the space between. Almost no one is traveling on the road, so it's an empty, quiet road, and we make it into Bleakmere. It tells us this is a rugged border town, because not only is it right here along the ley line, it's also the border of the neighboring country over there. And so it shares that borderline. So it's a pretty tough and tumble town. It is the stronghold of the local warlord Dragomir Vukashin. And Vukashin. So Dragomir over here, he is known as the Gallow King. Heavy-handed man, stern on punishment, confronting criminals and things of that nature. And so that is the nature. This town is a walled town, spikes at the top of the walls, guards all around the gates and through the streets. So very heavy military presence, with a town of only 900, 200 additional soldiers in the town, 40 town guards on regular patrol watching the city. So that's the environment that we're going into. And so we'll check through a couple of things, but what we're going to do is we're going to switch over, and we're going to kind of leave this behind. These are some optional things here, but I've taken those into account and based on what we're going to be looking at for our investigation. We're not going to be looking for these kinds of rumors. We're looking for our own kinds of rumors during our investigation. So I'm going to switch us over. We're going to need a place to stay. So we're going to use the tavern resource. So I'm going to put the book away here. Grab our handy dandy book over yonder ways. And with that, we're going to need a new table on our adventure page here. So we're going to add a page, figure out, so we don't need the treasure table yet. Downtime, don't need that. There we go. Taverns, inns. So we're going to flip over here. Inns. First thing we need is the name of our inn. 68. So we have a 68. And our inn, don't know how long we're going to be staying here. So our inn 68 is the High Hearth. Sounds like a nice welcoming place, right? Here's to hoping it is. The High Hearth. The inn's specialty. Let's see what it's kind of known for here in town. Hopefully, gathering rumors. Discreet staff, +1 to any skullduggery downtime. So they don't like to talk much, which means not going to gather a lot of rumors right around here. Discreet staff. Let's see. In status level. That's the next thing that we need. Got another D10 roll for that. 8. Ooh, this is an expensive inn. Expensive inn. And oof, it is a gold piece. It is nothing but single occupant rooms. That's going to be pretty expensive for us. So that's going to be 4 gold pieces a night. Hopefully we're not here very long. So, and it also has private meeting rooms. So that's good there. But because it is expensive, it's going to, from the tavern side, as an expensive status, it will have 2 common foods, 1 expensive food. So let's check our table over here for this. 2 common foods, a 4 and a 7. So it has eel stew. Eel stew. And the eel stew costs 4 silver pieces. This is going to be an expensive stay. Hopefully we have an expense account. And meat and potato pie. Potato pie, which is going to run us 1 silver piece. A little more common, apparently. We got a lot of meat and taters around, I guess. And then on the expensive food, we got an 8. Oysters, greens, and cheese. Ugh. I'm sure there are oyster fans out there. This guy is not one of them. Greens and cheese. And that is... Let's see here. Put my pen in my mouth. That always makes for great audio. 1 gold piece for that. Must be pulling those oysters in from somewhere. Goodness sakes. Okay, and then 1 common and 2 expensive drink options. So 1 common drink. We're going to need the old D8 for that one. 7. Vinegary wine. So it must be the cheap wine that they keep around. Vinegary wine. Only 5 copper pieces. And then 2 expensive drinks. So we got a D12. We didn't get any expensive drinks we got to look at last time. So 2 of these. Whoops. Oh, aggressive roller here today. A 2 and a 5. So 2 cool high mountain wine. Mountain wine. And 2 gold pieces for that. And the other one was 5 dry cider. Nice dry cider. Personally, love a good dry cider. 4 silver pieces. DC 10 con or -1 con, but +1 charisma for an hour. So, okay, so what's it going to cost us for the night as we stay in such a place as this? We're going to be 4 gold pieces for the room. We're going to assume we're just going to eat meat and potato pies. So we're 4 silver pieces there. And then we're going to have 4 ciders. So there's 16 plus the 4 there. 20. So that'll be 2 more gold for the food. So we're 6 gold pieces per day. This investigation is going to be expensive. We're going to definitely send an invoice for this one. So we are at the High Hearth figuring those things out. I'm going to keep this out because we may run into some shops. And actually, one of the first things that we're going to do is we're actually going to see about finding an armorer of some kind. And so we're going to go to the shop table. Not a big town, but it is a border town. So we're going to see about a shop. 5. So we're looking for a smith, and he is professional. I love that. It's a good start. Professional. His thriftiness, he is, that's where we usually pull the dice out. 4, modest. He has modest thrift. His skill level. This is the important one. I got bunked last time. I rolled one of these. 4, highly skilled. He can perform repairs and mods. What I really want is somebody who can do this. And his chattiness. This might be helpful for us here. 1, unknowing. So he's keeps his head down, doesn't want to know what's going on in town. So not going to be a great help here. But there we go. We know it's going to cost us every day to stay here. We got some good shop information. So we're going to move this out of the way, focus in on here as we step into the investigation side of things. So let's get this rolling up over this way. And so now, in order for us to investigate, we're going to kind of wander through the town. We're going to see what happens. And I don't want to sit here and navigate and narrate every single bit of dialogue. I want to primarily get to the action, because while I could sit here and voice one side, then the other, and everything else, I think the important thing is, what do we learn and what do we witness? So one of the things that I want to figure out is, do we encounter, there was a situation on the random table, if you notice, that I want to see if it happens or not. And so we're just going to take a quick check. Ooh, yep, definitely does. And so one of the first things that we see is a guard just randomly harassing some merchants. So what it does is it gives our group a distinct feeling that there's a fairly heavy hand in the town. The guards seem fairly merciless, very aggressive in their enforcement tactics. The merchant is proclaiming their innocence and saying, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just coming in to trade. And they're accusing him of being an infiltrator from across the border. That's all we hear. We don't know if he's supposed to be from Halako, or is he from the neighboring community over in Heimbria, which way they're referring to it, but they seem to be roughhousing him and kicking things over. And so it just gives that air, and it starts showing us. And so we can begin with the smith, and maybe we're in that environment. Maybe there's another customer, a person out in the street, and things like that. And so what we're going to do is check to see, do we find an encounter of any kind? And so with that, we're going to start with a charisma roll to see if we are able to find a rumor of any kind. So it's going to be DC 12. Korus, again, strangely enough, our heavy-handed witch hunter, is our most charismatic. It's that force of personality that he's got there, I'm sure. And so we're going to check DC 12. We have 3 over natural 20. Holy smokes. That's a great way to start an investigation. So with that, we're now, as I said, I've created this special investigation rumor table. And so what I think we're going to do is, with a natural 20, this person has a couple of pieces of information that are going to be helpful to us. So we're going to roll and see what we can learn from this individual. Here on our chart, we've got a 2 and a 5. So with a 2, you get the old specs here. Oh, nice. This person tells us that there is a mine to the north, and that tunneled through to an existing cavern, but the mine was closed after. So that seems a little suspicious. Something was going on recently, within the last few months, perhaps. And after the miners, kind of were digging into this one wall, it opened up, and there was a tunnel extending further beyond that. And after that, the mine was quickly closed. So that is a piece of information we own now. And then 5, the Gallow King no longer does public executions. It's what he's known for. He is known to be heavy-handed. It's how he got that name. Almost no one calls him, Lord Dragomir or anything like that. No, it is the Gallow King. but now everything has gone private. So something suspicious, something it changed in his attitude and his mindset there. So that's interesting. And I'm going to allow us 2 checks per day that we can sit there and try and navigate. It'll kind of up the tension. You know, we have to move through crowds and things like that. So we'll go to a tavern and we'll start investigating over there. I'm going to bring it back out again, but we're doing investigation. So rather than just our inn, we're actually going to pull up a tavern this time and see if maybe we can find something of interest in a tavern. So let me bring up our little scratch pad here for this sort of thing. And so I don't really care what the drinks are, except for what they may cost, unfortunately. So come up. Okay, the tavern. What did we find? Come on, guys. We need a chatty tavern. 6-9. Oh, we had 6-8 last time. Yes, that is a 6. The Hollow Blade. Hollow Blade Tavern. Regular patron. And there's that 20 over there. Regular patron. Oh, 2d20, sorry. 10 and 15. 10, talkative, love that. And 15, apprentice. Ooh, I like that. That guy might be real helpful. Talkative, apprentice. 10, 15, so got that. Tavern status, let's see how good of a tavern it is. 3, it's a poor tavern. Poor. And so I don't really care about the food. We just know we're going to have, there's 3 common drinks that are here. And so we'll just check real quick. We're going to need to drink something to keep ourselves above board. 4, 5, and 8. Poor tavern, only 2. Sorry, let me re-roll that. 5 and 3. So house ale, harvest mead. House ale. Harvest mead. House ale, DC 9 con or -1 intelligence. Don't need that while we're investigating. Harvest mead, DC 9 -1 +1 charisma for an hour. So that is going to run us 2 silver. And house ale is 4 copper. We're going to go with the mead, actually. And we know that there is poor food here. I'm actually going to roll that up as well, because maybe since we've got a talkative apprentice, it's a common guy here, maybe we're going to end up needing to potentially buy this guy some lunch. And so we'll roll here 7, 9. Pickled eggs. Ugh. You ever see those floating in a jar? It's not appealing to me. If you guys love them, you can tell me in the comments. And they had rat skewers. Oh, this is not a great place. And so what's the guy charge? 4 for some pickled eggs. 4 copper pieces for pickled eggs. It's better be really good. And 1 for a rat skewer. Bet your bippy you are. All right. So we got all that done. So we're going to go into the tavern here, into the Hollow Blade, and see if we can pick up some information. Now, this will be our second one, so this is a potential to draw an encounter. We're going to plan to buy a round of Harvest Mead, so that's going to tick 1 gold piece. Actually, we're going to do this. Gold pieces. So we're already 6 in for the day. And 1 gold piece in for this. And so let's see if we can find a rumor from our guy over here. +3, so we need a 9 or more on the dice. 4. So our second is a bust. We're not able to get any additional information from that, but we do have the random encounter now because we have that a potential of drawing some unwanted attention. 6, so we're safe. So we've been to the Smiths. We end up running into a guy, maybe a peddler out on the street, very concerned citizen, just kind of like, yeah, I'm real worried about what's going on, kind of a gossipy guy. We decide maybe around midday, start lingering around this tavern, buy a round of drinks, try and see if there's somebody we can talk to, try and ease into conversations. Not able to pull anything out of anyone, but it's kind of an out of the way small tavern. So no problems there. And that'll bring us to the end of the day. We'll start a brand new day, which is now going to bring us to, let's keep adding 13 gold pieces that we've spent now on the investigation. We'll try and make our way back over to the same tavern and see if we can get anything going from there. 16. So that gives us a 19 result. And what do we get? 15. A guard went mad after allegedly escorting the warlord to the temple. Okay, so that's definitely another clue. So we know the warlord's disposition has changed. He's been holding off on public executions. We've seen the rough treatment of the guard, so we know they still manhandle people. There's a high likelihood that people are being accused of crimes. Either he's chosen to start being merciful somehow, he's maybe not executing people, but imprisoning them or charging high fines or something, or he's just not doing things publicly, because it does say they are now private. They believe people are being executed. And then this guard allegedly went mad. I wonder if they know where this guard is. So let's make an oracle check. This person knows a guard went mad. It's a town of 900. Do they know who this person actually is and where they are? Yes or no? No, they don't. No. And no, that's a no result. And so because of that being a no result, yeah, they just have no idea. It's unfortunate, but we're asking around in this tavern now. Random encounter for us. So what does a random encounter do? We go back to the table over here, 6 options, 3. An informer goes off to warn the authorities. This is not great. So we've drawn some attention. Somebody hears us sniffing around. We start asking about the guard, and one of the other patrons of the Hollow Blade wanders off and informs the authorities that someone's poking around asking about this guard. So after our next check, regardless of the random encounter, I think it deserves the potential to see, do they respond to what's going on here? So we'll have to keep that in mind. We drew some attention. So we're going to make a note over here on our scratch pad. Authorities know, and we'll make one check just in case multiple things happen to us. We'll just see about that. Now we'll meander around. Maybe we'll try and find our way to another tavern and see what we can find there. I'm not going to roll up a whole other tavern. We'll just assume, we spent another gold piece. So I don't have the right gold piece again. So we're up to 14 now. We'll just make hash marks. Make this simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're up to 14. We're going to go to this new tavern, spread some money around. And you know what? I need to make my constitution check. We had Harvest Mead. So it was a DC 9 con. Unfortunately, our guy who's doing most of the squawking passed that check. So no plus to charisma, but no minus to con. And so he's going to check to see if he can gather information in this space. 6 plus 3 is 9. No new information here. And so now, no random encounter. Now the question is, did these guys actually take this as an actionable piece of information, or is it just another person who's a busybody? So Let's just make it a straight oracle check. No. As a matter of fact, not only a no, but it's a no and. So no, they don't think it's actionable. And as a matter of fact, this person is a known gossip, a guy who likes to spread information. And so that piece of information is ignored at this point. So that's going to keep us a little bit safer. Pardon. It does bring us to the end of another day in our shift. Investigation's not going great. So we're going to click off another 6 gold pieces. We're going to start our day again. We're going to head back to the Hollow Blade, see if we can make some rounds. And actually, let me see. The others have any chance at this? No. Brigida is not a charismatic person. Oh, no. Brigida is. Fyodor is not. And Ratha is definitely not either. Both of them have -1s. Brigida is. We're going to divide and conquer now. We need to start moving around. And so Fyodor and Brigida are going to go one way. Ratha and Korus are going to go the other way. Actually, scratch that, reverse it. Brigida and Ratha are going to go together one way. You know, Ratha's like, these are new people. Why don't we kind of keep an eye on each of them just till we get the feel for it? So Ratha goes with Brigida. Fyodor goes with Korus. And so she is going to check around shops. She needs to buy some alchemical things just for her stock and to make sure she's got, you know, potions that she can make. So she's going to visit a shop like that. And Korus is going to make his way past the tavern again. So we'll check Korus first. Natural 20 again. So another great opportunity. We'll make a couple of checks on the table. So we get a 4 and a 3. Oh, we're just filling in the gaps here. So 3. Interesting. He discovers that a lore master, rather than gathering information, people notice he's spreading rumors and lies. Things that are absolutely false. For some reason, he's spreading lies. Perhaps they're... Let's check. Are they lies about the temple? We know there's something going on at the temple, the mine, or the Gallow King himself. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So temple, Gallow King, or mine. And let's see what we get. So temple, he's spreading lies about the temple. So we know that. And then local pilgrims, I should have read ahead, I guess. Local pilgrims to the temple went missing. Interesting. So some travelers from out of town come in, visit the temple, and are not seen again. The temple is quickly becoming the key around all this, which makes sense if it's a cult. You know, it could be they're operating somewhere away, but maybe it's corrupted inside of the temple. Who knows? And so, interesting. Random encounter for them. 4. So they're good and safe. Now we're going to go over to Brigida. She's over in the shops and things. 12 plus 1, 13. So she makes her check and she gets a 17. The priest's messages aren't the same. They're very unclear. And so whatever it is the priest is spouting as part of his his sermon, if you will, whatever that is, isn't what it used to be. People who attend those services realize that something's off about the way he's talking these days. So with that being the case, we'll add that to the pile. It's definitely kind of starting to focus right around that temple area. And so we're going to, wrong die. We're going to go ahead and check for a random encounter there. 4. So they're good. So we'll have the group kind of come back together, maybe grab some lunch and, kind of compare some notes. Going real well. And then take back off. Second opportunity. I think we're going to have to make some action today. Korus is going to check again. Almost a 1. That would have been real bad, I think. 7 plus 3. So they're not able to pick up anything as he travels around to the marketplace, perhaps. And Brigida also gets a 7. So no information. Korus, Does he have a random encounter? No, a 4 again. Keep rolling that. And Brigida and Ratha. That's getting weird. Got another 4. So no encounters, but that brings us to the end of the night. And so as the group is beginning to think through all of this, the question is, do we try and get into the temple somehow? We have this thing about the mine. That's all the way out of town, though. That takes us a good long ways off. Let's see if we can stake out the temple. Let's see what we can learn with that. We'll have. Let's see. Is there a tavern close by the temple? That's something that would be open late at night. Something that we could get up a kind of a stakeout position from. So let's check. Is there a tavern close by? Whoa, out of control. 2. No, there's not, unfortunately. So we're going to have to do this a hard way. We're going to have to kind of sneak through alleys and stuff like that. We'll have our group down the street at a tavern, but we'll have the Hound. We'll have Theodore go and check. Now, as a Hound, he is given advantage to things like intimidation and tracking checks. As a former minstrel, he's got bonuses to performance, conniving, lore, those kinds of things, but doesn't have anything to help him with stealth. He does have a great dexterity. So we're going to have him hide in the shadows, see what he can see. He also has a fair intelligence, so we'll see what he happens to see here. 11 plus 4, so he's definitely hidden in the shadows. He's in an alley across the street from the temple. He's got a great view of it, and now it's just, what does he see? He found it. He sees. Think about. I'm trying real hard not to look at the other notes. I know it's strange. I wrote them, but I mean, that was a week ago. So I'm trying not to look at anything except for the ones I've got check marked. And right here in the middle, that guard that went mad after escorting the warlord to the temple. So you could have some late night, parishioner coming by. But since it's late, I want to say that there's a guard. There's a guard that's escorting the warlord over to the temple again. Perhaps there's 2 of them. And because of that, Theodore is going to run back. He's going to inform the rest of the group and let them know that the warlord has just entered the temple. He's going to come back and pick up his post. And now the question is, does the warlord stay in there? Is he in there for a long time? Or does he come out? So let's let the oracle decide, as always. Did the warlord go in for something short, or was he there for something long? We'll just ask the question, does the warlord remain inside for a long period of time? No. No and. Perhaps not only does he not go in and stay long, he stalks out. Maybe right at the time that Theodore gets right back to the alley, he posts up. All of a sudden, the doors fly open, the guards come out, and the warlord furls his cloak off to the side in an absolute huff of some kind. Since we're talking about the warlord now, let's actually take a look at him. Always just like to keep things interesting. I love visuals, so here's a picture of the warlord for us. And so we see that figure coming out, and he's heading over back to his manor house. And now with that, the thing is, what are we going to do about it? Theodore, like I said, he's vengeful, generous, honest, temperate, and trusting. He's not reckless, though. So he's not going to be foolhardy or anything else. Brigida is suspicious, but she's very prudent. And so I think the group is going to stay based on that kind of prudent observation. They're going to stay here for a good while. And they're going to wait, and they're going to see if they can get into the temple themselves. So they'll wait until Theodore lets them know that perhaps the temple's gone dark, that it seems like there's no movement. It's gotten very late at night. Almost everybody's the tavern's closing. The tavern keeper's pushing people out and telling them to go to their inns, or they're setting things up in a common room perhaps for people to crash out. And at that point, our group meanders over into the alley, and with Korus's prompting and saying, we have to root this out. We can't just stay here and while away. We're going to need to go in and do some actual hands-on investigating. Everything points to this temple. So we're going to go inside and look. And so he's going to start looking around, and they're going to try and make their way into the temple. We'll have Theodore lead the way, kind of give us a bit of a stealthy approach, and we'll follow along. So we'll see how well he does. 19. So he stealths in just fine. He cracks the door slowly, scans the space, gets a good lay of the land, maneuvers in. And what we see inside is a fairly simple temple space, the shrine at the front, altar space, all those kinds of things. And it is a temple to, I'm trying to remember, I wrote it down. It is a temple to Atheros. So I'll write that down so I don't forget. And so Atheros is a lawful deity whose portfolio is justice, battle, strength, law, and knowledge. And so with that, they begin looking around. They want to investigate the space, and haven't sketched this out, but we'll assume it's a standard worship space. There is a set of stairs that'll go down probably to a crypt or something like that. Then there's a back room that connects over into perhaps some acolyte rooms. Perhaps there's a high priest room, and maybe there's kind of the rest of the things like the rectory, the scriptorium, those kinds of spaces in the back there. So let's just start by scouting around in this space. I think I had a note about this. There is something about inspecting the temple. And so we'll do an investigation check over the temple. We'll have Brigitte lead us here on this one. So that's an 8. And she's +3. So that's only an 11. Yeah, she doesn't really have any skills or anything else that's going to help us. And so, yeah, we're just going to be kind of stuck there. So they don't see anything in the space here, but they don't want to go into the back rooms. The back rooms are going to lead to, again, they assume there's probably sleeping quarters, things like that. They're already pressing their luck being in here public. We're going to have the Hound lead the way once again, and he's going to check downstairs, see what's down there. As we're going to kind of stay up here, just maybe go, oh, we were just coming for some worship late at night, just to kind of, have an excuse, if you will. He's going to go downstairs. We're going to see what he can find out. So he's going to stealth it first. He makes it easily. He sneaks down into the space, and it is a crypt space. And what he notices is that at the end of the crypt, it goes along for a little way, and then it kind of bends around, and he kind of stealths around that curve. And it's the crypt of some former priests, the heads of the order. And he notices that all the sarcophagi of the former priests have all been defaced and torn up. The ones he's just moved through seem very normal. These may be high-ranking people or special people who have asked for the privilege of being interred here in the crypt. But in this one space, their special space for the former high priest is all tore up. It's defaced. You can see that they've been gouged in and everything. And at the end of the hall, there's a very rough bit of stonework that's been done, and a door has been set into that space. The door looks new. It looks like it was an addition. And so because of that, he is fairly convinced that this is a place of significance and things. So he's going to come back up to the group and see if they want to check it out. I'm going to see if any priests or anything wander by while we're in here. No. Wow. A 4 again. Again, continuing to be a little bit weird with the old random encounter. Maybe we won't use that die again. You keep making 4s. And so he comes back up to the group. He lets them know, what he's seen and everything else. And, friends, I have seen there is a door at the end. It is brand new. Something has defaced the crypts of all the priests down there. It is very strange. And so with that, Korus really wants to go take a look. He at least wants to go down there. Ratha's not going to let him go alone. And so they're going to begin a foray down into this space to try and investigate and see what's going on. And so they head down into the space, and I'm going to need to flip over this way because now we're down in kind of the basement. And so when we look at the map here, you can see that there is a crypt right here. And in that crypt, there's the door at the very end. And so we're going to go ahead and open this door, and we're going to step into the very first room. And the very first room was a warding room. So there was a room that was here that has a number of marks and things. But more importantly, as we just saw, there are a pair of guards in this room. So as we open the door, 2 guards are standing there, and perhaps the guards are here and here, just kind of manning the door a little lazily. Just kind of sighing, is just bored. It's late at night, perhaps maybe a bit uneasy. But we spot 2 guards here. The door opens. And at that, we're going to have this moment where they encounter one another. The guards at first are probably expecting a priest or somebody to come in through this space. And at that moment, they come into attention when they realize these are warriors. There are people that are armed. They're wearing armor. This is definitely not what they expected. It's not even fellow guards coming to relieve them. And so they immediately thrust spears forward. They've got a spear and, let's say, a short sword, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" And that's going to give us kind of a bit of a moment of engagement. Do we rush them, or do we try and talk them down? Brigida, very prudent. Theodore, he's pretty vengeful. Let's say, who takes the lead here? Is it Korus? Does he jump in first? Brigida or Theodore? And let's do them in that order. Korus, Brigida, Theodore. And we'll go through the D6s, not using you. You're nothing but 4s. 6. Theodore takes the lead on this one. So he's going to step up. He goes, "Oh, friend, we were here looking around upstairs, and we were not sure where to go. We were looking for the priest. I am sorry if we have wandered off. Most unfortunate, but I promise you, we mean you no harm, and we didn't intend to get in the way." Now, not a charismatic guy, so let's see how well this goes. 16. He seems pretty convincing. The guards begin to tell him, "Well, but you need to go right now. You can't be here. This is the wrong way. Go. The priest is upstairs." And they begin kind of shoving them off and out of the way. Brigida is very prudent. She feels like, assaulting guards and things like that is probably not the right answer. And even though they're being believed, Korus is not going to be foolhardy and reckless. And so I think they're going to leave. Let's check. What's the temperament of the group? I mean, do we just rush ahead? Or do we take it and, continue the investigation? This is just another kind of notch, another strange thing that's going on. Why would they be guarding this place? Do we leave? I think there's too many things pointing around here. We're fairly aggressive people. So do we leave? Yes or no? No, we do not leave. So while he has convinced them they're not here to cause problems as they tell them to go, perhaps he switches and he decides to go, friends, he is honest, don't forget. So he flips to his honesty and says, friends, the thing is, I've not been truthful with you. We intend to be here. And the thing is, I want to know what's behind that door. Now, you can tell me what's behind the door, or you can leave, and I can find out myself. Now, the third option, you're thinking, don't think. It will not go well for you. So with that, he's going to make an intimidation check. He gets advantage on those, which will be helpful since he's -1. Eesh, that did not work. The intimidation didn't happen. They feel threatened, and so they're going to immediately try and stab and attack, and that's going to put us into initiative against these guys. And so we're going to check with our group. And so Ratha and Korus. Ooh, Korus is 21 over here. Ratha is all the way down to 6. Fyodor and Brigida. Fyodor also super high. I didn't think anybody would get ahead of Korus, but Fyodor does. And Brigida is a 10. The 2 guards, they'll go together. A 20. Holy smokes. It's a good thing those guys rolled as high as they did, because these guards are going on 20. They're +0, but both of these guys had bonuses. So I think they are at 21 and 23. And so what we'll do is we'll have Fyodor, Korus, guards, going, Brigida and Ratha bringing up the tail end. And now we're in it. We're in for it. So with that, we've got a fairly simple battle map on this one. We've got the door over here. Snap to. There we go. And a door over here. There's perhaps a torch in the room there and one there. And Fyodor was standing up front. We have the guard 1. We have guard 2. Both of those guys. Ratha's always going to be up fairly close. Korus is going to be over here. And Brigida in the back. She's going to need to be staying in the back. Fyodor, I've got character sheets, again, digital. I like to keep that. I make a lot of adjustments, so we can take care of that pretty easily. He is going to grab a dagger real quick, thrust with that. Dagger, actually, no, not even thrust. He grabs it, flips it, and throws it quickly. He's good with that. And so here he goes, 15 +4. And so he's good with that. Thrown, he actually gets a +1 to the damage there. So D4 +1, 2 damage. So let's flip back. So I got G1, G2. So he threw it at that guy. 2 damage. Dagger throw real quick. And that guard is damaged. We'll actually, instead of just making them, quote, guards, according to the Shadowdark monster table, we'll make them, I think we'll make them soldiers. These are guys that the guards are pretty cheap, and so we don't want something too easy. So we'll have a soldier. They are armor class 15 for the soldier and have 10 hit points. So 10 hit points there. So he goes first there. Korus is... So he did a throw from right here. Korus, looking over into this space, slings his crossbow up, loads it, and he's going to fire right there at number 2. They're 15s to hit, so this is going to be a little bit rough. Yep, that's rough. That's a miss. And so with that, these guys are going to run forward to engage. This one comes straight in at Fyodor. This one is going to go right over to Korus. So the first guy on Fyodor, he is +2 with his weapon. I gave him spears instead of long swords, just the thematic choice I made. And so that 5 + 2, that's definitely going to miss anyone. And then the one over on Korus, that's going to hit. 19 is going to do it. And so Korus is going to take 4 damage off of that. And Korus is taking 4 over there. And that brings us down to Brigida. Brigida, let me see what that map looks like. It's so tight. She can't really get in there to cast a spell. The one spell she's got is Burning Hands. So yeah, she can't really cast a spell. And so she is going to move around. Ooh, no, that seems bad. What is Fyodor's armor class? These guys are probably neutral, so they're not going to benefit from protection versus evil necessarily. They are, what's their alignment? They're lawful. They're following guidelines here. So his armor class is pretty good. Pro evil doesn't work. Boy, I hate seeing that position. She simply has a dagger. Well, why not? She'll come in and rush and help out her buddy and just see what she can do. She's +2 to hit. 4, no, she completely misses. Ratha is going to step in, seeing these two over here. No, he's going to actually come straight down, help out his longtime friend. And so Ratha, he's got some new upgrades that he's picked up along the way. Got some nice big pluses that he can bring to bear here. So let's see how this goes. Well, when you roll a 1, that's just not going to be helpful for anything. And so, wow, brings us to the end of our round. Yeah, on a pair of cards, I'm not spending a luck token, so that's just going to pass. So we'll start back up again. Fyodor is in that lead position. He is now flanking the guard here. He is an 11. He is, because it is a finesse weapon, he's +4, so 15. He's just going to hit that guard. He's stabbing now with an offhand dagger. Oop. Get it in the thing. 4. Nice. So that guy's up to 6. We're making progress here. Korus, he's engaged in melee, so he is actually going to drop the crossbow, grab the mace off of it, the little thong where it hangs from his hip, and sling that at this guy. Not great with that mace. 13. Does he have it? Does he have it? Does he have it? No. +0. I thought maybe there's something. No. That's a miss. Guards attack. This time they've got Korus in front of them. They've got Fyodor in front of them. Korus hit again with that spear. He's going to have to cast on himself. Ooh, 4 again. Why do my 6s keep rolling 4s? I don't know if it's the way I'm spinning them or what. Fyodor. Wow, 3. Dodgy little dude. No chance that they hit him on that. And so that's going to bring us from the guards. Brigida, she's going to try and stab this guy from behind. 12. Nope, that's a miss. We come to Ratha coming in with that big long sword. Here he goes. Swing. 9. He is now, let me check. He is +6 now because of the talent he just picked up during downtime. So that's a 15 on the nose. D8 +5 damage. 1. 6 apiece. So that brings us back to the top. This battle is not doing great. Theodore makes his hit. Come on, buddy. Could you max out for me? He did. 4. That's 10. That guard falls. Korus is going to try and swing with that Gothic mace. 6 is a no hit. That guard, it's half. And so does that guard for his turn try and bug out? So yeah, half of them are gone. So morale check. He fails his morale check. So he's going to bug out. The only question is, does he try and push through or does he go deeper in? Do I want out or do I want to go for closer help? Not sure. Let's see. Oracle check. I happen to know is a little scary. He would know it's a little creepy. Does he run out? Because out's going to be the preferential way. So does he run out? 4, no. He runs in. So the guard is going to actually, we'll look at the map here. The guard is actually, come on, battle map. There we go. He's going to bust through this hallway door and run inside into this space here. And he's going to take off. So he breaks and runs. We lose out of that moment of initiative as he runs because Ratha does not have anything that he can do. He only carries melee weapons. Brigida does not have a spell that will go that far, and she's not charging ahead of everyone else. So based on initiative, he's going to actually take off, break, and run. Wow. And so that's leaving us with a room, an open door, a guy on the run into, it looks like, deep, dark hallways beyond. And that's where we're going to stop. We're going to wrap that up there. That's what our group is now facing. This is great. The investigation has gotten us down into this space. We just want to kind of kick in and look around. Unbeknownst to us, we've got this temple complex in front of us. And now we're going to start doing some actual dungeon diving and stuff as we go into this. And so I'm looking forward to this. I can't wait for the next session. I hope you're excited as well and can't wait. If you haven't yet, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. It really means a lot. Helps get the word out. Thanks to everybody who's been joining me on the journey. Also, if you want any of the Sundered Land products, don't forget there's the setting book, 4 region guides to give you actual 4 regions of Hexcrawl, hundreds of Hexcrawl locations and locations there, plus some free adventures in most of those books. So be sure to check that out. Plus also the other things we've been using, the campaign journal, the downtime guide, the tavern book, the treasure table, and the NPCs, all of that available on Drive-Thru RPG, pay what you want. So be sure to go and take a look at those. Thanks for joining me this time. And until next time, adventurers, we'll see you again soon.